Hello students, in previous lecture we have completed chapter number 5th from paper 1 Applied Electronics. Today we'll start chapter number 3 from paper 2 Digital Electronics, and the name of chapter is Semiconductor Digital ICs. Students, this chapter has 10% of weightage board exam point of view. Before starting this chapter, let us see why these ICs are introduced in market. The digital systems like digital measuring instruments, computers or microprocessor chips required hundreds of logic gates in the form of switches. If mechanical switches or relays are used in such systems, the operation will be quite complex, which requires more power and big circuits. So, these difficulties are overcome by using semiconductor technology and their components such as diodes, transistor, MOSFETs. All these are used as electronic switches. Instead of mechanical switches, these semiconductor devices are much faster and they are manufactured on a single chip or in a single package. The integrated semiconductor ICs have significant advantages over normal discrete circuits such as small size, lightweight, low power consumption, high speed and reliability. So in this chapter, we'll see some specification of ICs and two families, TTL and CMOS families of semiconductor digital ICs. Now let's start with the classification of IC. Here, the first semiconductor integrated IC was developed in 1958 by J.S. Kilby. Then many different semiconductor ICs have been developed. These digital ICs can be classified according to the semiconductor device, which is basically used as the main block in manufacturing process of microprocessor and other ICs. These ICs are classified in two groups. Students, you can see this tree diagram. Semiconductor logic families are classified in two groups. First one is the bipolar technology and second one is the unipolar technology. In bipolar technology, there are two subgroups, saturated bipolar technology and non-saturated bipolar technology. While in saturated bipolar technology, there are three subtypes, RTL, DTL, TTL. Students, here RTL stands for resistor transistor logic family. Then DTL stands for diode transistor logic family and TTL stands for transistor logic family. All these are three subtypes of saturated bipolar technology in semiconductor logic families. Now what about non-saturated bipolar technology in semiconductor logic families? Here first one is ECL, then Schottky, TTL. In ECL, what is meant by ECL? It is emitter coupled logic family. And here second subtypes of semiconductor logic family is unipolar technology, and in this unipolar technology there are three subtypes. First one is NMOS, second PMOS and third one is a CMOS. You can see this PMOS is nothing but P-channel MOSFET family, NMOS is the N-channel MOSFET family and CMOS is nothing but complementary MOSFET family. Students, all of you know that this MOSFET word stands for metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. Is that clear, students? Now, what is meant by saturated and non-saturated in this bipolar family? In this bipolar technology, bipolar transistors like NPN transistor are used to construct the logic circuits, or integrated circuits. And in saturated bipolar families, the transistors are driven into the saturation, while in non-saturated family, the transistors are operated slightly below saturation to reduce power, to reduce the propagation delay. In this way, at last, in the unipolar technology, unipolar transistor, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors are used to construct the semiconductor digital ICs. Now students, as we have seen that basically there are two types of semiconductor logic families, bipolar technology and unipolar technology. But the performance and the quality of an integrated chip or IC depends on their characteristics. So in next point we'll see the characteristics of semiconductor digital ICs. The popularity and the cost of semiconductor family depends on various characteristics. The manufacturer specifies these characteristics in the manual so that user can select the chip for particular application. There are 7 main characteristics as first one, propagation delay or speed or performance of IC. Second, power dissipation. Third, figure of merit. Fourth, fan in, fan out. Fifth, current and voltage parameters. Sixth, noise immunity. 7, operating temperature. Now let us see first one, propagation delay. As the total time required to execute one instruction or the delay in microprocessor response for an instruction is decided by these important characteristics. Manufacturer specifies the speed of digital family in terms of propagation delay. So, the propagation delay is defined as the time required to change the output from one logic state to the other logic state after input is applied, and the propagation delay is expressed in nanosecond. Okay students? And it is denoted by TP. As for example, TTL logic family has this TP is about 10 nanosecond, specifying that it takes 10 nanosecond time to change the output from one state to the other state after input is applied. Student, you can see this diagram. In this diagram, there are two quantities, TPHL and TPLH. This TPHL defines that practically propagation delay is calculated by measuring these two propagation delays. Here this TPHL is nothing but delay required to change from high to low state, means this is called as turn off delay. Second, TPLH, this is the delay required to change from low to high state. This is turn on delay. In this diagram you can see this is TPHL and this is TPLH. Okay students? So the propagation delay time is taken as the average of these two delay times. So we can write here the propagation delay time, that is TP is equals to TPHL plus TPLH divided by 2. Okay students? Or we can say that higher is the propagation delay, lower is the speed of IC. Now this is second characteristics of IC. As this is power dissipation, we know that power is the product of current and voltage. So this is the power in milliwatt dissipated in an IC. Means less power is required for better performance. So low power dissipation is desirable because it generates less heat and therefore it avoids cooling, power supply and cause problem. Means low power is requirement of minimum voltage and minimum current. And we know that if minimum current is required there, that minimum current can be adjusted by increasing the resistance. But as there is an increase in resistance, so T is equals to R into C. By using this equation, we can say that as resistance goes on increasing, the time delay also goes on increasing. And the power dissipation can be expressed in milliwatt. Or we can say that less is the power dissipation, so no need of cooling or power supply or cause problem. And less is the power dissipated, less heat is created, and the IC gives the better performance. Okay students, now let us see third characteristics. This third characteristics is nothing but figure of merit. Students, as you know, the propagation delay and power dissipation, then we can say that this figure of merit is nothing but the product of propagation delay and power dissipation. As here given, power dissipation is in milliwatt. Milli means 10 raised to 3, and this propagation delay is nanosecond, means we can say that 10 raised to minus 9 multiply by 10 raised to minus 3, so we'll get 10 raised to minus 12, and this 10 raised to minus 12 is nothing but pico. So this figure of merit is expressed here in picojoules. This characteristics indicates that the total performance or quality of family, and it is defined as the product of propagation delay and power dissipation of the gate. Okay students, and remember that it is expressed in picojoules. As lowest is the figure of merits, it indicates that the best performance of the IC. Now let us see the next characteristics, fan in and fan out. In this diagram, number of inputs are given to a single gate. So we can say that fan in corresponds to the number of input to the gate. Okay students? Or mostly the capacity of driving the gates, or most of the gates taken to the input, it is related to fan in and fan out. Okay students, so simply by using this diagram we can say that the number of inputs to the gates denotes that capacity or fan in. Here in another diagram you can see fan out. Fan out is the maximum number of gates or loads from the same family which are driven reliably. Fan out is also known as loading factor. For example, in case of TTL, means transistor logic, fan in and fan out is 10. That is, maximum 10 TTL gates can be connected to the output terminal of TTL gates. Okay students? Now next is the current and voltage parameter. As manufacturer specifies this parameter in the data book, which are useful in designing digital circuit. This is also known as worst case current and voltage parameters. Now let us see. Following current and voltage are very useful in the design of digital systems. Here, high level input voltage is nothing but VIH. This is the minimum voltage which is recognized by the gate as logic 1. Here, low level input voltage is IL or VIL. This is the maximum input voltage which is recognized by the gate as logic 0. High level output voltage VOH. This is the minimum voltage available at the output corresponding to logic 1. Then next, low level output voltage VOL. This is the maximum voltage available at the output corresponding to logic 0. Now, high level input current IIH. This is the minimum current. This is the minimum current which must be supplied by driving source corresponding to logic level 1. Then low level input current IIL. This is the minimum current which must be supplied by driving source corresponding to logic level 0. Students, in the similar way, high level output current IOH. This is the maximum current which the gate can sink in logic 1 level. Now, low level output current, that is IOL. This is maximum current in which the gate can sink in 0 level. High level supply current, this is ICC1. Students, remember that this is ICC1. This is the supply current when the output of gate is at logic 1. Means this ICC is the supply current when the output of the gate is at logic 1. And at last, low level supply current ICC0. This is the supply current when the output of the gate is at logic 0. Students, remember that when it is the high level supply current, at that time the output of gate is 1, and the low level supply current is ICC0 at that time when the output is logic 0. Okay. So therefore the current directions are shown in this diagram. You can see this IIL, IIH, and here the output IOL and IOH. Here this IOL represents the maximum current in which the gate can sink in the logic 0 level, but IOH, it is the maximum current in which the gate can sink in the logic 1 level. In the similar way, this IIL is the maximum current which must be supplied by driving source corresponding to logic voltage level 0, and here IIH is the minimum current which must be supplied by driving source corresponding to logic voltage level 1. Is that clear, student? In this way, this is the current and voltage parameter characteristics of semiconductor digital IC. Now let us see last characteristics. As this is the last characteristics, operating temperature. Manufacturer specifies the temperature range in which device operates properly. For industrial and consumer applications, the temperature range is from 0 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius, and for military application it is about minus 55 degrees Celsius to 125 degrees Celsius. Students, in case of TTL 74XX series, it is for industrial and consumer applications. In the practical of paper to digital electronics, we have used this 74XX series ICs like 7400 for NAND gate, 7402 for NOR gate, 7404 for NOT gate, 7408 for AND gate, in this way. While 54XX series is for military applications. Is that clear, students? Now let us see the concept of TTL technology. TTL technology uses transistor logic. Okay, students? Texas Instruments introduced this most popular transistor logic in 1964. In this family, a large number of integrated circuits are manufactured in digital field. This family is recognized by 74XX series. There are 5 different subfamilies of TTL as follows. First, standard TTL 74XX. Second, high power TTL 74HXX. Third, low power TTL 74XX. Fourth, Schottky TTL 74SXX. Students, you can observe this series 74H, H for high power, while in this 74S, S for Schottky TTL. Okay. In these TTL subfamilies, each subfamily is having speciality in one of the characteristics, such as low power TTL has a speciality in power dissipation, while low power Schottky has lowest figure of merit. Okay, we'll see in next topic. So the typical specification. Okay, from this table we'll get the typical specification of each family. This table gives among all TTL subfamily, the specialities are as standard TTL high speed, low power TTL lowest power dissipation, high speed TTL minimum propagation delay, Schottky TTL high speed, low power Schottky TTL lowest figure of merit. And here you can compare all the characteristics. For example, the TTL standard family having power dissipation is about 10 milliwatt, while propagation delay is about 10. But in case of lower power TTL, power dissipation is about 1 milliwatt only. Means if you observe carefully, in this all, starting from standard TTL to CMOS, this CMOS family having lowest power dissipation, it is in nanowatt, 10 nanowatt. But if we observe in case of propagation delay of CMOS family is about 200 nanosecond. Here Schottky TTL is about 3 nanosecond. Low power TTL about 35 nanosecond. Here figure of merit for standard TTL is 100. For Schottky TTL is about 60. But the lowest figure of merit is about CMOS family. It is 0.002 picojoules. Now what about fan out? Fan out in case of CMOS family it is greater than 50. Means it is the largest fan out. Okay. What about the lowest fan out? Standard TTL having lowest fan out. Similarly, high power TTL and Schottky TTL also lowest fan out. Okay students, in this way you can compare different characteristics. Now, let us see the TTL circuits, that is about 74XX series. Before we discuss typical TTL circuit, let us see the basic concept of transistor switching action. Transistor is an amplifier, but in digital circuit it is used as a switch. The transistor can be used as a switch, at the same time it gives inverted output. Let us see the concept. When we have to use transistor as a switch, then the condition is base emitter junction should be forward biased and base collector junction should be reverse biased. At that time, then transistor is switches on. And when one of these two conditions is absent, the transistor is in cutoff. Okay students? Similarly, when the transistor is switched on, when the transistor is switched on, at that time its collector emitter voltage, say VCE, its collector emitter voltage goes low. Is that clear students? I repeat again. When the transistor is on, its collector emitter voltage goes low. We say VCE. Now, when the transistor is in cutoff, its collector emitter voltage goes to high. Okay students, so remember these both conditions when we have to use transistor as switch. If you better understand this concept, then you can easily understand the next concept related to TTL technology. Okay, means when transistor switch on, its collector voltage VCE goes to the low, and if it is switch off, its collector voltage goes to the high, means VCE is high. Now let us see working of TTL NAND gate. As shown in this figure, transistor T1 is multiple emitter input transistor. Transistor T2, T3, T4 form an inverting circuit. Transistor T3 and T4 arrangement is called as totem pole output stage. In this stage, transistor T1 is NPN and it is in series with another NPN, that is transistor T2. They are connected so that when either of transistor is on, other is cut off, and vice versa. Means we can say that if transistor T1 switches on, T2 as in cut off. If transistor T1 cut off, transistor T1 is in on. Okay students. Now advantages of this totem pole stage. It produces very low output impedance in both cases when output is high and low. Since its output impedance is low, the stray capacitance and this low output impedance goes low time constant. That means output can change from one state to other state with very fast rate, reducing the propagation delay. And as there is a reduction in propagation delay, so the quality of IC is better, or the speed of IC is faster. Okay students. So here diode D1 and D2 are called as clamping diodes, and diode D3 is connected to keep the transistor T3 off when the output Y is low, and when the output is low, the transistor T2 is on. Hence its collector voltage is about 1 volt, which is low. Therefore the diode, if the diode D3 is absent, then there is possibility of conduction of this transistor T3. So we have to make switch off this transistor T3. To avoid this, the diode D3 is inserted so that the required voltage to make T3 on will be about 0.7 volt of diode, that is 0.7 volt base emitter drop of T3. The collector voltage must be at 1.4 volt, but it is practically not possible. Now let us see the working of this NAND operation. First you have to remember that this basic concept, when this transistor switches on, its collector voltage VCE goes to the low, and if this is in cut off, its VCE, that is collector voltage, goes to the high. Okay. If you observe the first case, when A is equal to 0, B is equal to 0. This second, when A is equal to 0, B is equal to 1. When A is equal to 1, B is equal to 0. And in these all three cases, one of the input is low. Means we can say that for first three combination of truth table, when AB 0 0, AB 0 1, or when AB 1 0, then the transistor T1 switches on, because when either of emitter is grounded, the base emitter of diode T1 becomes forward bias. Means if this base is grounded, so this diode, this base emitter junction is nothing but a PN junction diode, and it is in forward bias. Therefore, transistor T1 switches on. If this transistor T1 switches on, by using this condition, its collector goes to the low. As the collector of T1 is low, it makes T2 off. Okay students, so observe in this table, this T2 is off. As this T2 is off, makes its collector high. So this VCE is high, and this high VCE is given to the base of transistor T3. As the base of transistor T3 is high, therefore its collector goes to the low and emitter is high. As the emitter is high, this will make the diode D3 forward biased, and at that time we'll get Y output is equals to 1. Okay students, I repeat again. When transistor T1 switches on, this T2 switches off. This switch of T2 makes the collector high, as the high collector is given to the T3. Therefore, this T3 switches on. As transistor T3 switches on, therefore transistor T4 switches off. Thus, we'll get the output is 1. Okay. In first three cases, we'll get the same condition. Okay, students. For example, this 0, 1, 1, 0 cases, this transistor becomes on, okay, because when either of emitter is grounded, the base emitter of the diode of T1 becomes forward bias. As this base emitter becomes forward bias, the transistor goes into the saturation. Therefore, its collector voltage goes to the low. The collector terminal of T1 is the base of T2, therefore it makes T2 cut off. As this T2 cut off, its collector voltage is at VCC or high, therefore it makes T3 on. As shown in this figure, the current through T2 is 0, therefore the voltage across emitter of T2 is 0, that is VE is equal to IE into RE, which will keep this transistor T4 into cutoff. Thus, for these three cases, the output is approximately at positive VCC through T3, that is Y is equal to 1. Okay students, as this T2 is switch off or this is cut off, its collector is high, therefore its emitter is low. In this all first three conditions, this transistor T4 is in off state. As this is in off state, we'll get the maximum Y is equal to 1. Okay students, therefore for first three cases we'll get output for 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1 respectively. Now let us consider this last case, when both the emitter are at high, or when A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, it makes transistor T1 off. As this transistor T1 is in cutoff, it will use its collector VCE is high. As the collector of VCE is high, it makes transistor T2 switch on. As the transistor T2 switches on, its collector goes to the low. As the collector of T2 is connected to the base of T3, and this lower collector of T2 makes this base of T3 low, and as the T3 is low, base of the T3 is low, this is in cutoff. Therefore, as T2 is on, its emitter is, as this T2 is switches on, its collector goes to the low and emitter RE makes this VE, that is base of T4, VE, that is base of T4. Okay students, this is VE, base of T4 is high. As the base of T4 is high, this is in on state. Okay students, or we can say that now T2 and T3 are off and T4 is on, thus the output becomes low through T4, and at the last case we'll get the y is equal to 0. Or we can say that in first, if A is equal to 1, B is equal to 1, both the emitter are at high potential, therefore base emitter junction is reverse bias, therefore this transistor T1 is off. As the T1 is off, this transistor's base of the transistor T2 is high, it will make T2 on, and as T2 becomes on, therefore its collector goes to the low. It will makes this transistor T3 off. As the transistor T3 is in cut off, its collector is high while its emitter is low. Okay, but at the same case, if this transistor T2 is on, its collector is low, and as its collector is at lower potential, its emitter is high, and it is given to the transistor T4. This transistor T4 switches on in the last case. Okay students, and it will makes its collector low, thus we'll get y is equal to 0 for last case. In this way, this is the working of TTL NAND gate. Okay students, in short, by observing this truth table and remembering this basic concept of transistor as a switch, you can easily explain this circuit diagram with the help of this truth table and this truth table. Okay students, in next lecture we'll see TTL NOR gate 7402 device. That's it for today. Thank you.